Hello everyone, sorry about that delay. Hello everyone, this is Crotic giving you a shoutcast between PungPung Prime and Axslav, e.g. Axslav, here on Lost Temple. Here we have PungPung Prime spawning as the pink Zerg player. Meanwhile, we have Axslav spawning as the teal or sky blue Protoss. Now, I do promise you that the majority of my cast, I will try to make them at least PG rating for all you guys who have children and watch without headsets. But then again, I cannot guarantee that the players' names won't become just odd words in other languages. So yeah, some players telling me or some viewers telling me that PungPung is offensive or some bad words in another language. Yeah, well, I'm speaking English, so PungPung is not that bad. Now we do see a probe coming in from Axslav. So Axslav already moving now with a very, very early probe scout. Will be able to quickly walk up this ramp and now see that PungPung is pretty much doing a standard power droning coming in. We do see that Overlord is now in the air trying to train up 3 more drones there. And now this probe is just going to wander around on the inside and they'll get some damage onto the hatchery. I'm not going to really be able to deal all too much as now a drone makes its way for the low ground. No, it is not going to try to grow up to be a hatchery, just doing some scouting instead. He wants to make sure that his opponent is not going for any cannon rushes or going for mass gateway for a lot of zealot units. He will be able to come in here, and currently there are no assimilators down, so he does have to be a little bit more defensive just in case his opponent does go for a very, very strong aggressive mineral army only. We now see that the Zergling, and the one drone now trying to chase after that probe. The probe was able to place down a pylon and prevent any hatchery from being placed down, and it was really nice. One of the things that you want to do as a Protoss player is you want to be able to stop the hatchery from being placed down, but you also want to be able to come in and see if that spawning pool is being built. So by doing this, he was able to get that spawning pool, and now this pylon is here, so we may get some photon cannons on the front door. That is within the realm of possibility if this probe does decide to try to warp in some of those units. And now we see an evolution chamber being built over here. So Zephy did the hatchery trick. Okay, I gotta rewind that for you guys. If you guys are not familiar, what he did was he built a hatchery, canceled it in order to generate creep, and then put down an evolution chamber. What this is going to do is that the evolution chamber does take a little bit of time to build, and what eventually will happen is that a whole bunch of broodlings will come swarming out of this one pylon, out of this one evolution chamber, and then try to deal damage towards this pylon. I'm not sure if there is actually enough damage there in order to take down the pylon, but that would be interesting. But it is at least delaying the placement of this one nexus that's happening over here. So the probe is trying to get more damage in, and now you can see the one Overlord trying to slowly run away. We now also see some Zerglings quickly trying to take down this one pylon over here. It would be very interesting if the Zerglings were able to time this well and take down this one pylon with those broodlings. Broodlings not going to be swarming out of there, now trying to go after that photon cannon. We'll be able to deal some damage, but not very much at all. Not even able to get through any of those shields. So yeah, broodlings are not enough to try to take down, perhaps if some Zerglings were there as well in order to get some damage onto that photon cannon. But the photon cannon did get a lot of kills, 4 kills from that one photon cannon there. Now we're going to see Axslav trying to set up perhaps another gateway in just a moment. Oh no, the cybernetics core, and now perhaps another pylon here to make sure that no Zerglings will be able to run by. A hatchery has now been placed down by PungPung at the natural expansion, and both players will be running off of one base in just a moment. Zergling is now going to perhaps try to test this front door. He will not be able to get in at all, as a Zealot is currently being trained as well. We are currently supply locked by Axslav, so Axslav is having a little bit of issues. We can see the probe now once again patrolling right there, making sure that no units are going to be able to run by Zerglings sitting on this ramp, as both players just currently are going to be macroing inside their own base, trying to build a very, very strong army and then move out eventually. We can see Axslav now getting that Stargate. So that Stargate, and perhaps for Phoenixes or Void Rays, both of them are viable options. And here on Lost Temple, as Void Rays deal a lot of damage towards those Overlords and are able to attack move, and then also same thing with Phoenixes, both are countered by Hydralisks. But as a Protoss player, as soon as your opponent as your opponent is who's a Zerg player tries to mass too many Hydralisks, you can easily train up a lot of Colossi, and Colossi deals so much damage against those Hydralisks, it's not even funny. So very, very nice counter there that a lot of Protoss players have recently been using. One probe now trying to deal some damage onto that one Zergling. The Zergling, however, will be able to get some damage off, and now in comes that probe. I believe the probe did get the kill there, so one hero probe was able to take down one Zergling, and now this probe, however, needs to run for its mechanical life. Doesn't really care. It now trying to run away. Will it be able to get back home under the cover of that photon cannon? It does look like it will be able to, as the probe now once again trying to activate this Xel'Naga Watchtower. Overlord, I like the placement on this Overlord here to make sure that if there are any units that try to come out in this direction, he is able to spot it. We now see that the Zerglings are trying to activate that Xel'Naga Watchtower, or trying to gain map control, as by activating this Xel'Naga Watchtower, he would be able to see any units that are trying to fly in. That Overlord still sitting right here, able to keep watch on this front door, and now with a Void Ray out and operational, it should be able to shoot down any of those scouting Overlords very, very easily. Is it going to try to check out this cliff first? It does not look like it's going to check out the cliff at all. Perhaps simply just try to fly in along this backside, deny the gas, and then continue to move on. Production-wise, we are now seeing a lot of roaches currently being trained, but with no Hydralisk Den, this is going to be a problem, as those no Hydralisk Den and no Spire. It is going to be a little bit of an issue to try to even deal with these Void Rays. Void Rays are going to be able to deal a lot of damage. The Queen will be able to try to fight back, and now getting some quick hits in. So Queen versus that one Void Ray. The Void Ray now taking some damage. The Void Ray now trying to run away from that Queen. The Queen does have a little bit of a faster movement speed on creep, so the Void Ray will just slowly recharge some of its shields and then re-engage in on another fight, perhaps trying to look for some units to deal damage. We now see some Spore. Is that a Spore Crawler? I can't tell. No, that is a Spire hiding underneath that swarm of Overlords. So we are going to be perhaps getting Corruptors and Mutalisks. And now in comes this one Void Ray. Void Ray should be able to gain sight onto this one Overlord here, and now starting to snipe it down. That will quickly get taken down, as the Void Ray now tries to get in some quick kills, trying to focus fire onto some drones, quickly getting 1 and 2 kills there, and now trying to pull back once again. So the Void Ray now able to pull back. We do see some Zerglings now trying to swarm out, as well as some Roaches, but this is too defensive by Axslav. Axslav is going to have a very, very strong defensive position here, as Stalkers and Zealots are engaging. There is one force field, making it even more difficult. Roaches trying to get some damage in, and wow, and PungPung Prime just going to have a very, very difficult time trying to walk through this front door. That force field making it very difficult, and now those Void Rays are going to simply clean up the rest of those Roaches, and now be able to successfully fend off that attack. But now we see a transition into Mutalisks. 9 Mutalisks now being trained up, so I guess that was more of a suicide move, as 9 Mutalisks currently being trained. We could probably see even more Mutalisks being added to this army. 11 Mutalisks would be a very, very strong addition to that army, as the Stalkers are now on the move. We now see Mutalisks in the air. We should probably see some Queens trying to engage in this battle as well, and this will be a very, very critical fight, as those Void Rays are trying to charge up on those Overlords. One Mutalisk running in a little bit too far. Drones now coming off the mineral line as well, trying to engage on that fight. Mutalisk getting a lot of damage in there as well, trying to get as much splash damage as possible. One Void Ray has been taken down. Another Void Ray looks like it will go down, but the sentries are going to be the main problem. The Queen just standing back, not even bothering to fight, needs to get in some more damage. One Void Ray will get shot down. Another Void Ray now shot down. Transfusions coming in, and now both sides have exchanged armies very, very early on, and this will be a problem. There are currently still 2 Mutalisks in the air trying to get more damage across some of those sentries. There are also a lot of Queens over here, and now PungPung Prime says GG. Wow, so a very fast Protoss versus Zerg game here on Lost Temple. I had thought that PungPung perhaps still had enough in order to get back into this game, but as you take a look, you can see how far behind PungPung is in the economy game. 25 drones. His army is currently standing at half. I believe if the Queens had gotten in a couple critical transfusions, perhaps that would have worked out a little bit better for him. Also, if he had connected his 2 bases with more creep, that would have even worked out even better, as those Queens would have been able to walk down that ramp and offer some protection. Also, there were a couple Queens that could have taken down those earlier Void Rays, and I think if those Queens had also fought and engaged in that earlier fight, it would have turned out to be a very, very different battle, especially as there were only Stalkers and Sentries. Stalkers and Sentries are not that effective against Queens, just because Stalkers deal bonus damage to armored units, and Queens and Mutalisk are not armored, so they would only be taking 10 damage per attack per hit. Queens having 175 hit points, Mutalisk having 120, and then if you threw in 2 to 3 transfusions, that's an additional 300 hit points, and that would have been a lot of damage that those units could have absorbed. It just didn't work out for PungPung. PungPung, I believe he just overcommitted on this fight here. And just by overcommitting into that one particular fight, it just started to go downhill from there. Axslav, realizing how one-sided that fight was over here, decided to push out. He knew he had a strong economy going with that chrono boost. He also was starting to train up Phoenixes as well in order to combat and deal with those Mutalisks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and Game 3 in this Best of 7 series between PungPung Prime and EG Axslav, representing Clan Prime and Team EG. Thanks for watching.